Next season's Rockality starts off with a bang.
Son of a bitch. Flat tire.
It's a sink or swim moment in Salt Lake City.
We cannot perform here tonight.
We're probably dead in the water.
Watch Parker and Tim take on a 13-pound pizza eating challenge with the hopes of winning $300.
This looks like to be an utmost travesty in the makings.
Experience Tim's encounter with the paranormal in Colorado Springs.
Holy shit, dude.
Did something just scratch me?
Those stories and more next season on Rockality. Don't miss a single episode.
Ink Pimp says so. Ink Pimp out.
Okay, so when the idea for Rockality came into play, was it something you guys were... Was it something that happened collectively together, or was it just one idea that came up and then one of the members shared it with everybody else?
Honestly, I didn't want to fucking do it. There's so much that you have to do just as a band already,
So much
and then
work.
we're gonna add in making sure that we had the fucking, videotape going the whole damn time, no matter what, and all the editing, because it's fucking hours of editing, so much editing.
I bet.
I think it was really an idea that was brought up by the manager, but it was never brought up as like, this is something we're gonna do. It was like, what if we did this? And like, I didn't know anything about it. Parker didn't really want to do it, so it was more just an idea he like pushed on us more and more and more until
We finally did it.
until we finally were like, okay, this is something, if we're gonna do it, we gotta be serious about
Yeah,
it.
like we didn't even put it into action until he actually like came into the band. So the idea came about before he got back into the band, but it really got into action when he got into the band again. And it was probably because you got back into the band that it kind of happened, because I was saying no, he was saying yes, but then we had another yes man over here, so my no pretty much just got weeded out. So that's probably why it actually came about, which
I'm still trying to figure out how you guys got time for all that. Man.
It's one of those things I think we've gotten used to over time, but like
at the same time,
usually when we talk to a lot of other bands, not saying any band is doing anything wrong or we're doing anything right, but like people always seem surprised when they're like, how often do you practice? We say 3 to 4, 5 times a week sometimes. They say, well, how often do you work on this reality show? 3 to 4, 5 times a week. They say, well, how often do you try to get bands in to record? As often as we can, how
wherever it's open.
It literally, I can't explain it other than like a 24-hour job. I mean, that's one thing a lot of people get surprised about is when I talk about my coworkers, I talk about them like they're coworkers. Like, we understand we're partners in a business, and most bands, I think, this is just my opinion, but I personally believe the biggest mistake a lot of bands make is they're friends, and then they start a band as friends. So then it's harder for them to treat it as a serious business, because you're not going to risk a great friendship you have over a long shot of, making it in the music business.
Yeah,
whereas with us, we are very hard on each other 24/7. We take things very seriously with each other, and very often we'll have that phrase. I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying this because it has to do with business. And that's how we treat, everything from Rockality to the recording studio to Force Multiplied, is we have to have that understanding where we don't get too emotional about it, where it's just like, this is business. I gotta tell you you're screwing up on this part because it's business. I gotta tell you this looks terrible on the show because it's business.
Right, it's not the person. Yeah. And you're right, a lot of people don't know how to take that.
Yeah.
So the fact that all three of you guys, and no matter your guys' personality, like some of your guys' personalities may conflict or whatever, but business is business, and some people don't know how to separate that.
Yeah.
The thought process of doing the reality show.
We self-edit, we self-produce it, we self-film it. Everything that's going on is literally done by us four.
And that's another thing, when we're doing the editing, we'll usually get everything done, and then we'll, actually watch it and be like, alright, let's cut this shit down.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a few processes of it. It's like the first initial edit, boom, we do it, and then we think it looks good, then we go in, like, do our green screen shit where we're actually talking about whatever happened in the moment. Because a lot of times, you know, because you have to edit a lot of stuff out, you can't have just the video explaining what's going on at the moment in the video, so you gotta do the green screen shots. You know, certain shit we want in, certain shit we don't want in, and that's another thing. When you're self-editing what you're watching, you know, obviously if you say something or do something in the video and you don't want it to go online or whatever, but the other people will think of it as like, you know, they see it as, oh, that's very entertaining, people are gonna love that, and you're like, fuck that, you know? So
I'd say that's probably all of our biggest problem. All four of us, management included, is all of us have egos. And when you're sitting there editing yourself, you want to make yourself look like the best person on the show. And then when you have a manager and a guitarist getting into a fist fight, he doesn't want people, because it's like, I don't want people to see me getting in a fight. Yeah, but it's great conflict for the show. So it's like, we have to try really hard to not only get away from our egos and think more of an outside perspective of what is a viewer going to like, but we also have to try really hard not to care what each other think, because if like one person is rolling the camera, we've realized over time it will kind of like piss someone off when there's a conflict going on and you have a camera in their face, when it's probably much easier just to kind of, you know, almost be like you're not a part of the fight that's going on instead of being in their face with the camera. And that's one thing, is each of us have kind of had to like, you know, drop the realization that there's a camera in your face and maybe you don't want people to see what's going on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Basically, what he's getting at is we start with a giant steaming pile of shit, and we sit there and polish some more, then we eventually wear it down to that one golden little corn that's in there, and then we polish that up and make it look like gold.
what he said.
That was beautiful.
Very poetic.
I like poo. So after, you know, like after you guys' first couple of episodes, did it change the way that you guys thought it was going to be? Like, did you think it was going to go a different route than it went?
No.
It pretty much. I mean, because there's so much planning involved that there was
I don't
really
think I
only
said
way
that
it
right.
could go.
No, I don't think I explained that right. Like, what I meant was like what you're expecting of it, and then like pretty much after the fact that you guys were doing it, did it like change anything for you?
For the first,
Like for example, how you're like, I didn't want to do this, you know, like after you went through the motions
Yeah.
and you did it.
for the first like 3 episodes, I still didn't want to do it. And for this last one, I'm a lot more into it. I think maybe because we're getting better at what we do, so it's not taking like 30 hours to do an episode. It's taking maybe 10 hours now to do an episode, because we know kind of what we're doing a little bit. So maybe that's it. But yeah, for the first like 3 episodes, I did not want to do it any of the times. I was so against it. I was like, fuck that. And then on this last one, I was like, okay, well, it's okay, I guess. We'll see how it goes.
My whole perception of every band member really changed once we started doing the reality show, because I never really thought if we were similar or completely different until I was able to like see it on film while we were editing. And that's what I love so much about the first episode, is our whole concept was like, you know, let's give all of our opinions about each person while we present each person. And it was only when I saw the first episode that I realized every single member in this band is so polar opposite from each other. Like, I don't think any of us really have any similarities whatsoever. And I never realized that until like we put it in an episode format, that I'm just like, we're definitely a group of characters. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I hope people like it, you know? Hope it keeps them entertained.
So, Force Multiplied being born.
Pretty much the band came about in about July of 2011, and I had previous members in the band. I'm actually the only original band member, but basically within like 6 months, the other band members were out of the band by their choice, and then we went through, I think, 1 or 2 more drummers, you know, just trying them out or whatever, and then we found this guy, got him in the band. We had another guitarist who was in the band. Pretty much that's how we got to Tim. Then that was pretty much like within a year of the band being around. And then that guitarist who we pretty much found him through left pretty much right around where the band was a year old.
Before Force Multiplied, were any of you guys in other bands?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think the only one who was not in a previous band was Parker, because since Parker is like the original member, pretty much from the get-go, he was Force Multiplied all the way. I've been in bands since I was about 7 years old, I think, and I've done everything from like Christian gospel music to hip-hop to like electronica, trance music. To me, it was honestly weird when I discovered Force Multiplied, because I was primarily a jazz drummer and a funk drummer. All my life, that's what my parents had me study, was those two. So, I mean, I recorded a lot of albums with other bands, I wrote a lot of music for other projects, but it's like, when I found Force Multiplied, I had no idea how to play rock. You know, rock was not a primary genre I understood, and so I pretty much had to learn it overnight, in my opinion, because 2 weeks after I finally got signed with MC2 Recording Studios and started recording with Force Multiplied and things like that, we were opening for Anvil right there at the Boardwalk. So I'm like, okay, I've been here for a week now, and a week from now we're going to be opening for a major act. So, I mean, I've done music all my life as a little kid with a lot of different projects and a lot of different genres. But I don't think I've ever found any project that has taught me so much about music and understanding things from a musician aspect rather than just an instrumentalist aspect as Force Multiplied. And that's, if that's way too much of an answer, I'm sorry.
No, it's
but yeah, to keep it in a nutshell, yes.
Yeah, well, I think one of the reasons Steven and I kind of clicked musically is he had all his, classical and jazz training, and when I first started out playing bass, I was in high school marching band, jazz band, concert choir, and I really think that we almost kind of came from the same roots. And then he branched off into, I think he had like a little hip-hop career that he was doing for a minute, and then I got into rock. I was listening to metal, and I had one in high school that was called High Fidelity. It lasted like a whole 3 months, and then we broke up. And then there was another one when I was probably, I don't know, 22 maybe? Probably 21. And that was a rock band, and we were going pretty good. It was female fronted. We were called Shashura, and the band was going great for a long time. And then the drummer, who's married to the vocalist, they ended up having a kid, and that just kind of killed it.
Yeah.
The band. So I was into that, and then I was on my own for a long time, and I was doing the whole bedroom closet musician thing for a while, and just jamming by myself. And then my buddy hit me up, and he was like, dude, there's this really kick-ass band you gotta go see. I'm gonna take you to the Boardwalk tonight. And I was like, okay. And then I blew him off, and he was like, dude, that band I was telling you about, yeah, they're playing again over here at, where was that at?
Club Retro.
Yeah, Club Retro. And that's where I saw these guys perform for the first time, and I was just like, alright, I'm interested.
So tell me about the recording side of the business now.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's been like a work in progress for years. Pretty much ever since I started guitar, I've looked at it as like, not only do you need to know your instrument, but it's always good to be able to produce your own stuff. So, I mean, we started out with just that little interface right there, the one on top, yeah, right there, that little piece of shit. And then we went to the next one right under it, that 8-channel thing. That's an EQ under it. And then we pretty much upgraded to this a few months ago.
Well, we went to this first.
Well, yeah, that's just a controller.
And then you said, fuck all the bullshit, we're bringing in the big boys.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then, and once we, sometimes we get people who want to do videos or whatever, so we can, show them that aspect too.
A lot of
Just,
times that's like the nicest thing about us in our studio here at MC2 Recording Studios is like a lot of people who may meet us for the first time think that we're just members of Force Multiplied, but once we actually get them talking, you know, once we actually start talking to them about the things that we provide, it's not only like, you know, we also have a reality series we're doing, but we also have a full recording studio in which we have people come in and record, you know, a full-length album if they want. We also offer, we can film music videos for people, we can film live videos, like we have pretty much all the material you would possibly need to do anything with music that you could possibly want. And that's one nice thing to tell a lot of people because it breaks them away from just thinking, oh, you guys are in a band, to like, you guys are a full production agency. It's,
So, what are your rates?
Right now I'm doing $25 an hour for recording. That's just tracking and like rough mixing.
Super cheap.
Yeah,
Because I got
that's-
bands hitting me up, and I'm not bullshitting, at least once or twice a week. Hey, who can record us? You know, who do you,
Drop our name if they're looking
do
for.
you guys have a business card?
I do.
Right behind. That's one thing, like, we emphasize, because, I mean, very often we will go out to the boardwalk or different, like, venues and things like that and talk to different bands that we want to get in our studio, but, like, I mean, we've looked at other recording studios. There are some people that it's like, they charge thousands. I mean, literally not...
No, I've seen it.
Thousands of dollars to produce an album, and, like, when I talk to people, whether it's my friends or people that just want to record, I'm just like, look, this is the highest quality, everything you could get, and this is the lowest cost you will get, and I promise you that.